to be the best, you must beat the best, And I feel like I can beat him. So Chavo, I'm calling you out. I said, come on.
There it is. Chavo Guerrero, right there. You heard it. Emilio Guzman calling you out, and I'm not gonna lie, love Chavo to death, but Team Emilio right here. That's where I have to go.
Stuff.
So you had a B plus on Raw, B minus on SmackDown, had a B plus and a B. You want to know what show got an absolute S plus in my opinion?
SCP, that's the one.
That's right. Squared Circle Pros Tornado Slam. What a show. From start to finish. Damn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We had okay. I don't know if he's watching live, but it spoke with Scar a little earlier today, and I know he's going to be watching the podcast a little later on. He's doing a little training right now. But there you heard it, Scar. He said he's going to break out of it. Like live on the podcast. He said he can break out of your podcast, or break out of your bear hug. So when you see it,
clip it.
when you see this now, you know what he looks like.
I'm curious because I'm like, how are they gonna make someone? Because all the promos they've done to build him up, I'm like, the way that Sammy's been taking shots for Roman Reigns, the only real shot he's given back is a shot with the chair, and then he just got mollywopped. He's never been the guy who just comes out and messes people up.
What do you get?
And can overpower Roman Reigns. What?
What do you get?
Wally mopped, obviously.
Many freaking matches.
You were talking trash about Drew McIntyre the other day.
I was.
Easy.
Okay, no. I was just saying he is not number one pick contention.
That's not true.
I mean, but
Okay, stop this violence.
all right.
No more Russell on Russell violence. Unless I'm doing it.
That's funny. All right. So, anyways,
You don't have to. Please just let me finish the conversation. I don't want to do this. I don't.
Look at this! This belongs to me! Not you! None of this! Jim, this belongs to me! Me! I earned this! Not you!
What you think?
So The Rock is on Buddy's list. The Rock is on my list. The Rock is on your list. The Rock is on our chat's list. The real question that we need to ask the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling podcast is, can any of us here smell what The Rock is cooking?
It doesn't matter if you smell.
Oh my goodness, it doesn't.
But it's things like that. It doesn't matter.
we need to talk about that.
Tickle.
That's how the saying goes.
What? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, tickle, tickle. I think, Rick, if be concerned if he ever comes to you talking about tickle, tickle.
Hey,
I don't.
All right.
I'm not sure what's going on there.
At the hour and a half mark, I think we've gotten a little.
So are we seeing a shift to all your heavyweight stuff on Raw and your high flying luchador stuff on SmackDown?
I can tell you that is charcuterie because Ricochet is on Raw. Okay.
It's not shark.
That is a bunch of shark.
All right.
Well, yeah. With that, we're at.
Of course, everybody knows.
I don't know.
As everybody knows, we've got BCW. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. Clash at the Castle, WWE's PLE is in the books, and we are here to talk about it. Welcome to our roundtable. I am your host and tutorial boss, the one and only Guapo. With me right now, the man himself, Rick Elzy. Rick, what's going on?
Just finished up the show and ready to talk some wrestling.
I'm all about it. Joining us here shortly will be the mailman who is a person in your neighborhood, Mike Caldwell, joining us here shortly.
Love it.
Clash at the Castle. Let's talk about it, man. Had a few thoughts going into this. Had a few preconceived notions that this is what's going to happen, and it seemed like the majority of people had the same thoughts. It really seemed like going into this that the overwhelming thought is none of the Scottish talent was going to win.
Yeah.
Like that was the big heavy thought on everything is Drew's going to lose, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are going to lose, and Piper Niven's going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You and I had a discussion about that. That kind of changed my mind a little bit. When we get into the matches, I'm glad to see that this wasn't necessarily the case. I don't have anything bad to say about any of the matches involving them. I think they did a good job of showcasing hometown talent without the show being about showcasing hometown talent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I like the way they did everything. So let's talk about a little bit of the build-up here. We've got the Cody versus AJ Styles, the I Quit match. I really like that they took it up a notch there, that they took it to, not just a match. Now it's an I Quit match, and bringing up the fact that AJ Styles throughout his career is 4-0 in I Quit matches, and Cody has never had one. The one thing I want to talk about that is SmackDown last night.
Okay.
The promo that, or I guess not the promo, but the back and forth between AJ and Cody saying, you quit WWE, you quit New Japan, you quit Ring of Honor, you made a whole new company, and then you quit that too. That was absolutely awesome.
It was. It had a lot of good build-up. I enjoyed it, especially for as quickly as it came together.
All right, I think we might accidentally be joined by the one and only Mike Caldwell. See if there he is, popped up on the screen. Mike, what's up, brother?
Hey, it's been a long day, but it's been exciting too.
It has. We're talking about some of the build up to this. We're talking about Cody and AJ's promo yesterday about everything that he has quit, everything Cody's quit. That's just a fire promo right there.
It was. I mean, they've not shied away at all under Triple H for mentioning other companies, mentioning people's histories. It's very refreshing because they're not dancing around things, and that I think that helps move stories forward.
I agree. Mike, what do you think about it?
I personally like the fact that now WWE is, no pun intended, but they're acknowledging everybody for what they are. I mean, and they're not necessarily saying AEW, but they are talking about AEW.
It almost comes across as they're able to talk all they want to about AEW as long as they don't say the letters AEW.
Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yes, it's always referred to as another place or another place.
Well, the build up to this has been absolutely awesome. So let's talk about the match itself for a little bit. Before we do, of course, want to say what's up to Jay Conrad. He's in the chat with us right now. Josh, if you saw any of this, you got anything you want to say about it, let us know. But yeah, let's get into this Cody versus AJ Styles match. What a different side of Cody Rhodes. The enraged, the angry, the I'm going to kill you side of Cody Rhodes.
I really enjoyed it because it's nice to add a layer to Cody.
True.
Cody is very much the vein of the classic 80s babyface. There's a lot of Dusty, there's a lot of Hogan, there's a lot of there's a lot of those characters in him. He's squeaky clean, um, but it's nice to see him get a little dirty every once in a while because I mean he is the American nightmare. So
True.
I mean, if he's going to be the American nightmare and he's going to be kind of the darker son of Dusty Rhodes, then he needs to have that kind of Dusty versus the Horseman attitude. And so yeah, I like it. I think it's good, and it creates a layer that if they ever do decide they want to turn him heel or do something different with him, at least he's got that layer that he can fall back on, and then it doesn't seem forced.
Mike, what did you think about the new darker Cody Rhodes?
Well, I like Rick's reference as a layer, but I was thinking more along the lines of he hit another gear. You know, that instinct has always been there. I mean, you've seen it in his past. In his past, you know, if anybody has followed him throughout where he started in WWE and went through the independents as well, you saw him catch that other gear every once in a while, and now he actually has the opportunity to hit that other gear, and I'm glad that AJ Styles brought that out of him.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you put it that way because that was one of the things I wanted to talk about is AJ Styles has helped make just about every champion in recent history. Whenever Roman got the title, who's the first person that wanted a shot at it? AJ Styles. And AJ Styles put Roman over like nobody else. When Cody got the title, who's the first person that came after Cody? Was AJ Styles. And AJ Styles put Cody over like no other. The talent in that alone from AJ Styles is, the flowers need to be put out there for that, in my opinion.
Well, AJ's one of those guys that, I mean, he's told us in advance that he feels like he's wrapping up. And so we knew when he signed his last deal, he said, "This is my last deal. I'm not signing another deal." And he didn't mean just with WWE. He meant this is my last wrestling contract. And so we know that he is wrapping up. So if he's going to wrap up and he's, as phenomenal as he is, and he's the guy everybody always points to as being an amazing worker, he needs to be spending this time getting people over. And I like that he's not being selfish about it. He didn't create a special list of all the bucket things he wants to do and all the crazy crap he wants to go out and do, like some other people that have head injuries and probably shouldn't be wrestling. But, come on, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, you jump over to another company and you're going to have free reign. So you create your bucket list of all the ridiculous bullshit you want to do. And that's probably going to put you in a wheelchair. And, AJ is being a lot more dignified about his time, and I appreciate it.
I get that.
Speaking of wheelchairs, if he would have landed another 6 inches back from where he did whenever he went through that table, it would have been completely ugly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I agree completely. One of the things that is starting to become a little bit of a constant now is the involvement of Mama Rhodes. Mama Rhodes, of course, at the show tonight, slapped the dog out of AJ Styles like 3 times. I thought it was great. I love to see it. AJ comes back with the chair. So do you think this is something we're going to see moving forward?
I think we could if the right situation came up. I don't think it's something we need to see all the time. We don't need it. It doesn't need to become the Mama Rhodes show. But at the same time, if she works for the storyline and it's something that, you can utilize her for, then I think absolutely she's already made a connection with the crowd and the crowd already appreciates her. And so at this point, you can use Mama Rhodes for two things. You can either have her there as the distraction, or you can have her as the mama in peril. And either way, you're going to get an emotional reaction out of Cody, which is the whole point of having a family member there to begin with. So for me, I think the next thing that needs to happen, whoever the next big bad is that's going to get in Cody's face, they need to do something. They need to try to do something to Mama Rhodes.
Agreed. Mike, what do you think?
Well, I think we know who his next. Well, I wouldn't say he's the big bad, but he's the next one in line is going to be Solo.
Well,
But,
then I need the Gorillas of Destiny to abduct Mama Rhodes and do some terrible things to her.
Easy.
But
Easy.
it's been a classic thing for a long time to do things with family members and pull them into the story to develop emotion on your protagonist. I mean, we've seen it all the way back in the freaking 70s.
It's a Southern wrestling staple.
It is.
It's Southern Wrestling 101. Personal issues draw money, and there's no personal issue greater that everybody can get behind than bringing your family into it. It's the one thing that we all as fans have in common, and that's our connection to family.
No, and it makes good sense with what they're doing. And I know it started with The Rock talking about Mama Rhodes, and I almost wonder if Mama Rhodes keeps making appearances here and there until we get back to The Rock versus Cody, because we are going to get back to The Rock versus Cody at some point. And I kind of feel like she's going to pop up here and there until that point.
Yeah.
But talking about, this particular match, the ending of it was, for me, it was a little off. And I don't know if it was the fact that it was such a quick ending. Like, Cody picked up the steps and AJ's like, I quit. Or it seemed off to me, because to me, it seems like it kind of hurts AJ's character. There's a lot of talk going on about AJ going to TNA for a little while, which would be great because that elevates TNA even more, because that's what AJ does. AJ elevates people. But is that the mark you want going into a new promotion? Before you answer that, Rick, I do want to say, Aaron Marie 37, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the show. Glad you could be here today.
I did not have as much an issue as you did with it. I like abrupt endings. I think that too many times people take too long trying to get to their contrived ending. And I think that when you do that, sometimes you lose pertinent moments. And I feel like with AJ handcuffed to the rope, trapped in the corner, Crazy Cody, who is already shown that he's a little bit more nuts in this match than he has been. Crazy Cody's coming at me with steel steps. I could see AJ giving up, and I think there's a lot of different reasons for it. He's talked about his family in promos. He said he's wrapping up. There's a lot of different ways that you could go about it. There's a lot of different avenues that you could maneuver through with that story. I also think it's smart because he lives to fight another day. So to me, I think it would have been worse if he would have been absolutely decimated, bloodied, and, beaten. So, because if he's going to go to TNA and he's going to do some stuff over there, I'd rather have him show up looking like AJ Styles than show up looking like he'd just run through a meat grinder.
I get that. Mike, what do you think about it?
Okay, if you were listening to the commentary, they were discussing the fact that he had that his shoulder was beginning to swell. So that shoulder, that left shoulder that he had, that was the target of everything at that point. And it was I may be hurt, but if these stairs hit me, I'm definitely going to be hurt. So it was let me get out of this while I still can.
Right. And I can definitely see that. I wondered if maybe it was a legitimate injury, like somebody hit the refs here and said, "Hey, go home with this now because AJ's hurt." So that was a thought I had about it. All in all, I think it was a great match. And you talked about Solo being the next big bad coming up for the title. It was interesting to see Solo come out as Cody was leaving, and Guerrillas of Destiny start beating up on Cody, and out come KO and Randy Orton. That was a lot of fun to watch, actually.
I loved that. I loved that because Solo just said that we already have Cody in check, and he just doesn't know it yet.
Right.
And so this is the logical next step, is to show that we've got him in check. Now, KO and Randy Orton kind of thwarted that. So that leads me to believe that right on the horizon, we probably have a 6-man tag.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was on Raw.
And if we get to it wouldn't be on Raw, it'd be on SmackDown.
Well, SmackDown, yeah.
But if we get that 6-man, we already know that Hikuleo, who's now being rebranded as Tala Tonga, because his actual middle name is Taula, Tala, but I think they're pronouncing it. I think they're spelling it Talla. But Tala Tonga is going to be his new moniker. I would not be surprised at all if we're doing a 6-man tag and the new guy shows up and they 4-on-1 him or 4-on-3 him.
I could see it.
But I like that they took the next step.
Yeah.
That's some really good foreshadowing, and I think with Solo being the next challenge set in front of Cody, it all pulls into the story of we're going to find out that Solo's been getting orders from The Rock, and then Rock is going to make his appearance, and it's going to be Cody and Rock at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll get Rock Cody that quick, but I definitely love that we've started that path, because I've been hoping now for a while, and I know that John, I know you've heard me say it. There's kind of been the whole, we're going to get these two bloodlines and probably going to doing something as a War Games match at Survivor Series.
Uh-huh.
And the question has been, where's Jacob Fatu going to fall? If they're bringing in Hikuleo as Tala Tonga, I feel like, you got Solo, you got Tama, you got Loa, and you've got Tala. Then if The Rock is number 5, then that means Jacob Fatu is going to be on the other side. And so if we've got Jay and
Possibly
Jimmy,
Zilla as well.
but yeah, if we've got Jay, Jimmy, Jacob, and Roman, as because we know that they're all signed. If we've got them, and if Rock's on the other side, Cody joining the bloodline for a Survivor Series War Games, it would be very much a full circle moment for Cody to be standing there alongside Jay, who he's already good friends with, but standing side by side with Roman when The Rock has technically screwed them both over. You want Roman to be the baby face. Put him with Cody. That'll do it. They'll do it.
Yep.
So I'm excited. I'm excited that we're starting that path now. I'm all about it, because I also think that before it's all said and done, I think KO and Orton are going to end up having a feud. So, so to me, I think it's very. You look at what they did just in that one little segment tonight, and you could probably see 6 to 8 months of booking.
Well, and one of the things I see on already people talking about was Randy, patting Cody on the shoulder, but his eyes immediately going to the belt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I still say if we get Randy versus Cody, it's got to be heel Randy versus Cody. It can't be it can't be the Randy we have now. We need I'm going to kick you in the head, Randy.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about it.
Well, I mean, if Randy's going to feud with KO first, I mean, I know the crowd likes Randy, obviously, but KO's funny and he's entertaining. And Randy, when he's a heel, I'd rather see Randy as a heel versus KO than see KO as a heel versus face Randy.
Very true.
Completely agreed.
Well, I'm interested to see where that one goes, but this takes us into our triple threat for the women's tag team titles. So going into this, I made it very clear on the podcast Thursday. I was upset with the way Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, the way their match went down against Zoe and Shayna at Raw. I feel like you don't take a team that's involved in a triple threat for the tag team championship and make them look like non-contenders. And I felt like that's what they did. And I've got to say, they did a good job of correcting that for me as a fan with this match.
I think this went down exactly the way I thought it was going to go down. As soon as we saw how they were handled on Raw, you and I had talked about it earlier in the week, and I surmised that this was probably going to be the outcome of the match because what better way to make good on the fact that they didn't have a lot of oomph going into the show was to have them come out as champions. So.
And the one thing about it, all three teams got their opportunity to shine here. But
yeah.
I'm interested to know, Mike, what were your thoughts going into this match? Like, I had it decided as late as the podcast Thursday, I had it in my head that Jade and Bianca Belair retain their titles and go on to the next. But what was your thought going into this match?
Well, I honestly thought, especially with the homage to the Road Warriors that Jade and Bianca had, I felt like this was going to be their opportunity to basically run roughshod over two teams and make it look like they were the dominating force that they are. Honestly, with the way that they did this, they gave the crowd a happy moment with a local to get them to be where they're not disappointed later on with everything else that went on.
Right.
Throw them a little bit of a bone, and then eventually Jade and Bianca can come back and take those titles over again.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that being the way it goes down. Now, one thing, of course, congratulations to Isla Dawn, Alba Fire, your new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. However, there is an asterisk beside this match for me right now, because to me it was very, very clear that Jade tapped, and she tapped to Shayna Baszler. Now, I know that I've heard both sides of this from different people. Rick, you and I were discussing this earlier, but someone like Rick had said that it was grasping at the hold. It was very clearly this, and I saw it. The commentators saw it. The crowd saw it. I feel like there was a tap there, so I feel like there's an asterisk here that's going to be addressed Monday night. Rick, I'll turn it over to you. Give me what you think.
I mean, if it was a botch, then Triple H's track record has been that he'll acknowledge the botch, he'll say that the referee's decision is final, and he'll leave the possibility that it could be readdressed down the line, which I think is a solid way to go about it and not screw up your plans. If it was on purpose to be a device to start the wedge between Bianca and Jade, then it was a very well planned and well timed spot that Eagle Eye fans caught, and you know that's kind of one of those things. The reason I don't think that that's what it was is because I feel like there's a lot of, well, I hope they catch this. Well, I hope that people see this. Well, I hope there's a lot of hope in that, but not a lot of guarantee for the payoff of it.
Fair.
But, you know, again, it could have been sleight of hand. I thought it very much, to me, the way that she was being held and the way her arm was, I feel like if she was going to tap and it was a tap moment, I think it would have been more of the. But to me, the fact that it was just like that, I thought either she was trying to get word to Shayna, like maybe that's a little too tight, you know, or maybe it was, you know, I'm trying to grab for some leverage so I can flip or move. To me, it just didn't look like a blatant tap.
I get you.
That's just me. So I don't, but then again, coming from a booker's mind, I also always have to have 6 or 7 potential ways to get out of something if somebody does something stupid in the ring or somebody makes a mistake. You know, well, how do we pivot out of this? How do we pivot out of that? You know, so that could just be me grasping for a straw of how to get out of it, you know. So I don't know. We'll see.
So, Mike, what did you see in that? Like, you watched it too. Was it a tap? Was it a grasp? What did you see?
Honestly, I thought it was a grasp as well. You know, whenever somebody has some sort of a hold on you, whether it be your arm, your leg, your neck, your ear, whatever, you're going to try to get them off of you. And she was trying to do such. She was trying to get her hands where they needed to be.
I mean, I can see it. This is what I feel is going to happen out of it. What I see in my mind coming out of that. We're going to get to Raw tomorrow, and our new tag team champions are going to be on Raw, and they're going to be celebrating their win. And then Shayna and Zoe are going to come out and tell them you didn't win that, and they're going to play that footage of Jade doing this, and say that Jade tapped, and that's going to be. I feel like it's going to become a segment on Raw. That's what I see happening.
I mean, it very well could. And that sounds like a perfectly decent way to address it. To have Shayna and Zoe be like, you know, those belts belong to us. And, you know, if you want to follow that up with Bianca coming to Jade and being like, what was that? You know, then we can take those steps over there. So, I mean, I think it was blatantly obvious to all of us that the reason that Jade and Bianca were put together and given tag titles was because they are not trying to shove Jade out by herself super fast. And, you know, they're trying to give her as much opportunity to succeed as she can. And maybe there's a prevailing thought backstage that she's ready. And maybe this is the beginning of moving her into singles. I mean, we don't know.
I can see it. Mike, what do
We
you
just
think?
have to see where it goes. But I will say this: where whatever the actual thing was, I completely trust Triple H to make sure that it gets handled correctly.
Same.
Yeah,
He has yet.
I agree with Rick.
He has yet to make me go, oh, Paul. You know, so I'm on board. I'm on board.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're looking at in game with Jade and Bianca is going to be Jade versus Bianca.
Mhm.
So if this is the first little rift in making it happen, we still got a lot of story to play on the whole deal. Now they don't have the tag titles to worry about, so we might be pushing the fast forward button on it just a little bit. Although it could be that, you know, Money in the Bank, they take the titles back, and then we're off to the races again, and then we finally get something way down the line next year.
Or maybe they find themselves at the top of the same ladder, reaching for the same Money in the Bank briefcase. That could be
a possibility. That is a strong possibility. Either way, I'm interested to see where this one goes. That takes us into Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental title. This, to me, is still the best storytelling in the business right now.
It's a good story. It's a good story.
I mean, when you look at Otis, over the last few weeks, Otis has told an entire story and he hasn't said a single damn word. And when you think about that, that is outstanding. Like just his facial expressions and his body movement, like he has told an entire story without saying a word. And he continued that tonight.
He isn't the only one. Akira Tozawa, Maxine, Chad Gable. I mean, Chad's done more talking than anybody of the four, but between the four of them, it's the looks, it's the eyes, it's the facial reactions to what's happening. You can read every single one of their intention on their face.
And I love it.
Brilliant.
What did you think going into this one, Mike? Like, what were your thoughts on this match?
Honestly, everything went down as I was seeing it happen in my head, minus the fact that I honestly thought at the end of the match, we were going to have Gable in the middle of the ring doing his deal, belittling Otis, and slap the dog out of him. And then Otis was going to end up snapping and slamming him.
Which I would have been all right with. See, I kind of had that same thought process, was that I thought that this was going to be where we got the Otis snap. And this close. Like they're playing this in just the way they need to. Because even someone like myself, you know, not your average Mark, I'm still like, oh, is this it? No, it's not this time.
Well, here's the deal. You don't want to wait too long and people grow tired of it. It's pretty much reached its crescendo as far as I'm concerned. You know, this needs to happen within the next few weeks. It needs to happen. It needs to come to a head.
Oh, I think it's probably gonna come to a head tomorrow night or Monday night. I'm so not used to this being on Saturday. But because you know, I mean, obviously Maxine still conflicted. Otis very conflicted. Instead of hanging around, Otis carried Maxine to the back, very a la Hulk Hogan Elizabeth. Which is, as soon as he picked her up and started walking, I was all like, Saturday night's main event. Here we go. Here we go. But I think that what I was expecting, I was expecting Gable to win. It was either going to happen because somebody caved and gave in, whether it be Maxine or Otis. But I felt like if they didn't, it would be the Creeds that would come out and cost Sammy and put the belt on Gable. And the thing is that we may still get that.
Yeah.
Because even though this was supposed to be Gable's last chance, I feel like with Sammy being the person who has pushed for Alpha Academy to be free, I think that there's a possibility that Cable may do the whole, well, I tell you what, you give me one more shot, and if you win, I'll let them all go.
I can see it.
And then when he wins, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let you go anyway. And then he reveals he's got the Creeds and Ivy Nile. And now we've got Sammy and the former Alpha Academy versus Gable and his new academy.
Mhm.
And that is an easy 8-person deal that's going to take up enough TV time to keep this story and to kick it into the next gear and take it to SummerSlam, which I feel is probably going to be Gable versus Otis for the Intercontinental title.
Agreed. Mike, what do you got?
I couldn't have said that any better. I honestly thought that I think that Gable is due for that, but there's also a very big question of what's going on because Gable has not signed his contract yet, and it's
did.
pretty much over.
He did.
He did?
Yeah, he was on I think it was an internet radio podcast, I believe yesterday, or either that or it was early this morning. But they played it online. The footage has been on Twitter where he revealed that he has signed a new deal. He said it was an exclusive for that group because they were all like, "Is that news? Is that like, does everybody know that?" And he was like, "No, this is an exclusive." So he has re-signed.
Well, that's a good deal.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know.
So, rewind.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Anyway,
English, take two.
with that said, it should be that belt should be his. You know, he's the one that's telling this story. You know, Sammy is just a player in this. You know, unlike what he was doing a year ago. This is Gable, and Gable is getting to get his chops in, getting to get his stuff in, showing what he can do as a character, and make everything happen the way it needs to happen. And he is a star, and it's going to be rewarded.
I feel like you're absolutely right. I feel like Gable is going to end up with that IC belt because he does deserve it. And I think that his first big defense, kind of like you said, is going to be against Otis at SummerSlam. And I'm all about it. I want to see Otis rip his arms off and beat him with them. A little graphic, but hey, it is what it is.
I honestly think that SummerSlam may be too soon.
Could be.
I mean, if we're still if we're still playing the slow game on this deal, then yes, we still have we still have too much. We have too much story to tell and not enough time. And I think SummerSlam may not be enough time to tell what needs to be told, unless they're going to start fast tracking it starting Monday.
Well, and I could see that, slow burning it the way you're talking about, picture for a moment, we get to November and you've got Bloodline versus Bloodline. You've got Alpha Academy, former Alpha Academy versus New Academy. And, just for my own jollies, NXT versus TNA. But, that's your part of your Survivor Series card.
It could be. I mean, they could, honestly, they could come back around to Gable Sammy again on one of the 2 nights of SummerSlam. And you could have Gable win the belt there. And then if you get to that, 2-group feud through Survivor Series, maybe Otis Gable happens at Royal Rumble, or maybe you find a way to actually get to Mania with it. So, I mean, Triple H has already proven that he's in it for the long game. He doesn't like the hot shot, and he doesn't like to just get somewhere quick. He's all about the long game. That's one of the things I'm loving about WWE right now, is that if you really want to enjoy what is happening in WWE right now, you cannot be part of this ridiculous give it to me now binge culture. You cannot be a part of that because you're not going to enjoy it. You know, I that's the biggest complaint I see from wrestling fans online concerning WWE is, well, I'm tired of the Uncle Howdy stuff. When are we going to get to that? I'm tired of these guys losing. When are they going to get a win? I'm tired of this storyline. When is it going to take the next step? Cool your frickin' jets, you idiots who have never done anything in your own life in wrestling. Let the experts do it, you know, and give you something fun to watch, unless you just want to go, you know, flip over to Wednesday and watch your Flippy Doo Circus bullshit. Go ahead. Go.
All right. Now, Rick, I'm going to need you to quit holding back and tell us how you really feel.
Hey, if you don't like stories and you don't like psychology and you just like moves and you just like matches and you just want to get out there and boom, 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 and hit it like a freaking heroin addict, if that's what you want, there's a perfectly wonderful show on Wednesday that could use the viewership.
Dave Meltzer can tell you all about it.
Yeah.
See, with every wrestling show that pretty much I've ever been a part of or heard about or been in the crowd for or whatever, you don't hear the people go, "Oh my God, did you see the twisting, burning 450 hammer Phoenix splash?"
No.
That's
You
very
don't.
true. That's very true. You know, at the best, you get a 20, 30-second holy shit chant.
But it's something that they go, "Oh, okay, right on. What's over here?"
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
What
Well,
they're
I
doing
feel-
is they're telling these stories now. And if you watch the ratings and everything else, you see WWE and they're going up. And you see AEW that's not focusing on story. They're
we
focusing
refer
on
to
what
that
the
as
moves are.
the other place.
They're going down.
Other place.
Yeah, we refer to that as the other place. But you're absolutely right.
I personally refer to it as ADCW.
ADCW.
Attention
even-
Deficit Championship Wrestling.
I call it where good wrestling goes to die, but that's just me. I mean, yes,
But we're
Tony
having
Khan
fun.
is a clown. Say
Yeah.
what?
That's what it's supposed
But
to
we're
be
having
about.
fun.
It's all about
But we're-
fun.
We're having fun and we're hanging out with our friends.
It's performance art.
You, not the words I would use, but okay. All right, so again with the Sammy versus Chad thing, this is some of the best story work WWE's got going right now, and I'm all about it. I can't wait to see where it
Yeah.
goes. That takes us into Bailey versus Piper Niven. I was so impressed with this match. I was happy with what I saw. Piper has 100% proven herself as a main event contender in this match.
For
Not that she
actual-
didn't have that before, but she had the opportunity to showcase it.
for actual professional wrestling match content, this was the match of the night for me.
Yes.
It didn't need any bells. It didn't need any whistles. It didn't need a lot of botchy outside stuff. It didn't need any of that. The crowd was pretty 50-50 for a lot of it. Bailey is very popular overseas. She's kind of like the female Bret Hart of this generation in WWE, where she can do whatever she wants in America, but she goes overseas and everybody wants her to be their girl. So, I mean, she's over, and
Absolutely.
Piper brought it. I mean, I think this match, more than anything Piper Niven has done since she arrived in the original May Classic, this was the match that, in my opinion, they elevated Piper with this, and moving forward, she needs to be a part of the major mix.
I agree wholeheartedly. Mike, what do you think?
This is a prime example of getting over without going over.
Very
Well
much so.
worded.
I mean,
Perfectly said.
it was a very good, very sound match. And you're right, it didn't have a lot of big bells and whistles or any of that. It was straight up. But I love the physicality that Piper did. And, and Bailey gave it right back to her. But it was, if girls would watch this match in particular, they would be it would help them so much as far as psychology wise. I think that
Go ahead.
I think that with how everything was played out in this deal, the mission was accomplished. Bailey still gets by, and the crowd was not completely upset over the fact that Bailey did win.
No.
No, I think they did a really good job with it. Before I go any further with it, guys, say what's up to my boy J Reb. Cameron, what's up, brother? Glad you're here. I feel like this was exactly what it needed to be. This match made Bailey look like the strong champion that she is, because there's no questioning that Bailey is a strong champion. But it also highlighted Piper Niven and what she can do and what she can be. What she has been, she has been coming up to this, but she's finally had the chance to highlight that. And I do believe that brings her into the main event picture. One thing I will say, the crucifix bomb at the end, was that not the coolest shit ever?
It was good. It was really well done and impressive for Bailey and Piper to pull off, considering Piper's size. That's not an easy thing to do for a girl that big. And so there was a moment where, like, when she came over and hit, I was like, "Ooh," that was right on the neck,
Yeah.
So, but they did a great job, and you notice that there for a second, Piper's shoulder was up a little bit, and then Bailey leaned the right way and put her shoulder down. That to me was the most impressive part of it, was Bailey being absolutely aware of how it looked and leaning the right way so that she didn't have one of those moments where somebody's shoulder was up.
Yeah, she didn't have the Randy Orton moment. I was thoroughly impressed with this match. I thought, kind of like you said, as far as a wrestling content, this was match of the night for me. And kudos to both of them. And I have to make mention of the look of respect that Bailey gave as she was going up the aisle and Piper still in the ring. The look of respect given from Bailey to Piper was just the icing on the cake for that, for me.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
That will bring us to the main event, the one everybody was talking about: Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the belt, for all the marbles. The intro, the Scottish, the bagpipes, it was cool. It was showy. I liked it. Drew McIntyre was an absolute firehouse in this match. And that's the Drew I miss. That's the Drew I like. We're going to start with you, Mike. The ankle injury. The injury to the leg on Priest. Legit or no?
I think there might be something there where it's a little tender, but I think it was played up more than what it really was.
Okay. Rick, what do you think?
I thought, and I'm actually pulling up, Mike Johnson's got a report about it, But just for myself watching it, when it happened, I thought to myself, "Oh my God! Like he's broken his ankle." And I was also concerned about the fact that he slipped through, fell forward, and his face was even with the side of the ring. I thought maybe he smashed his face into the side of the ring as well. I was like, how bad is this dude hurt? But watching them go through the rest of the match, there were times when I thought, okay, that could be legit. But then there were other times where he was putting obvious weight on it. And I thought, okay, he's doing a pretty decent job of selling it. By the end of the match, I was convinced he was fine by the end of the match because it just went on long enough that I thought if there was really a problem, they would have cut it. According to Mike Johnson, he says that when asked about the condition of his ankle, which caught the ropes in a truly scary moment, Priest says it feels like trash right now. He said he hasn't even gone to medical yet because he wanted to do the presser first. He also said that it isn't going anywhere or that this isn't going anywhere. And basically he thinks he's going to be okay. So I guess we'll wait for the actual medical to come out. But according to Priest, he thinks he's fine.
Well, and here's hoping. I hope that he is. What a great match. Like, even before the no one could predict it ref bump, I think the back and forth in this match was awesome. Like, I think, like I said, Drew was a firehouse, and I think Priest had an answer for most everything Drew had. So I feel like this was the match that people wanted. I feel like this was the match people were asking for. And then, of course, we got the ref bump, and out comes the new ref. 1, 2, it doesn't matter if I count to 3.
How awesome was the camera? They pulled back to hide the run, and then they cut just to slide in from behind, and then they stop and they switch the camera to see CM Punk looking at Drew doing the 2, which over there is like a middle finger. So I mean it's just, again, the facials, the way that they're interacting with each other. Punk and Drew have created a potential feud of the year that doesn't involve a championship.
Nope.
And that is, to me, that is amazing that we're building this blood feud, flirting with the title, but we don't have it involved, which is allowing other players on the cards to get the time they need with championships, because the guys that don't need it, even though they probably could have it, they don't need it. They're building feuds that don't involve it. I think it's perfect.
Mike, what do you got?
That was very well said. One of the things that before Punk went to the other place, whenever he was in debate about getting back into the wrestling business, his main thing was, I want to do something interesting. I want to do something that's going to be worth something in the end, and it doesn't have to involve the belt. And he's doing exactly that. And with Drew is on it. Talk about gears. He's a freaking 18-wheeler. He's got so many gears. It's not even funny. And we haven't seen all of those gears yet. I think there's still going to be more that he's going to get within this feud, because I think this thing is going to go into next year.
No, it's got to. I mean, I absolutely feel like this goes all the way to Mania, and as well it should, because much like Rick said, this is turning into feud of the year for me, because it's just the little things here and there that. Did you see the way that Drew grabbed a hold of Punk whenever they both stood up? Like, it was just straight for the corner and grabbing by his throat. So Drew doing a great job showing the anger in that. So I'm excited to see it. Like, it's the Drew CM Punk thing is going to be awesome. But the one thing I do want to say about this match is you can't, while the whole Drew and CM Punk thing happened, you can't take anything away from Priest on this, because Priest put on a hell of a show tonight.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been hearing from a lot of people is, well, CM Punk and Drew overshadowed this and over. No, it didn't. And to me, anyway, Damian Priest put on a hell of a show with Drew McIntyre, and he wasn't overshadowed at all.
No, he wasn't. And I think that, comments like that go back to what I was saying before, that this is one of those shows that everything that they tried to do clicked. Every character came out of this with something to do, with someplace to go, or some conflict to explore. Nothing was wasted on this show. So to me, you can acknowledge what you saw, or you can nitpick it to death because you just want to nitpick it to death. And you've got people saying that going in, people were, oh, this is a very predictable pay-per-view. This is a very easy pay-per-view to predict. We can look and tell you exactly who's winning all these matches. Here's the thing. That's not always a bad thing. You can have a show look very predictable on paper, but just because the outcomes look predictable doesn't mean they're not going to give you something extra, or they're going to spin it in a different way. I mean, I would rather look at something on paper and say, yeah, okay, I think I know how that's going to go, than look at something and go, what the hell is this? I mean, it just depends on what you want. If some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla, and apparently there's some idiots out there that like bubblegum birthday cake with marshmallows on it. So whatever, happy diabetes. I'll take the chocolate or vanilla. You can go do your crazy ass.
I think that has to be the hashtag for the show, is hashtag happy diabetes. That's
I don't have time. I can no longer suffer the idiocy of the wrestling fandom. It's ridiculous.
No, I get you. So Mike, with this, talking specifically about Damian Priest, you and I have talked before about Priest not being real sure about him. Maybe he's, and it's funny that they bring this up when, like, he talks about it, maybe calling him a transitional champion. What were your thoughts on Drew Priest in this match tonight? I said Drew Priest. Damian Priest.
I thought Priest did a really good job. Really good job. He held his own. The match was back and forth. He sold, but he still was, whenever he was on offense, it was hard hitting. It was where it needed to be. And with that, they say sometimes the person makes the championship. But honestly, I think with him getting to be in these positions where he is champion, going against this top level of contendership that they have, because, I mean, to put it completely bluntly, Monday Night Raw has the all-star list of guys. and Damian Priest has an open field of guys that he can figure out what that next step is, what that next gear is, and he can be that top guy if put in the right position. And I believe he's showing that right now.
I think that's well said. I think that this particular match has, to some of the naysayers, put a level of legitimacy to his title reign. And I think that's great. I think he deserves it absolutely 100%. I do want to ask you guys about something. I didn't want to say anything about it before until after after the show was off, because I nearly texted both of you. Madison Square Garden had a little bit of an oopsie, I think, because the show came on at 1 o'clock today. At, I think it was 10:30, 11 o'clock, something like that. They posted on their X account for Madison Square Garden that it's just been announced that Damian Priest will go up against Jey Uso on June 28th at Madison Square Garden for the heavyweight championship. So, gave a little bit of a spoiler there this morning.
Well, I think that you can look at it like that, but at the same time, I go back to when Flair was the NWA champion. When Flair was the NWA champion, Flair would hit every territory, and within a month, he'd hit all of them. And you've got him advertised in Florida, Japan, Missouri, Texas, Portland, California. You've got him all over the place. No one's waiting for the previous person's match to announce the championship. So for me, if Damian Priest is your world champion and he's taking bookings to defend his championship, the asterisk is implied that he may not be champion when this date arrives. But Jey Uso has a world championship match on this show. Just right now, Damian Priest is the champion, so we're going to advertise that. So I don't know that it's technically a spoiler unless you want to look at it that way.
I get that. You have any thoughts on that, Mike?
I can't say it any better than what was just said. With them having weekly events or actually daily events, you can't sit there and advertise something. You can't sit there and advertise something down the line and not go ahead and foreshadow a little bit of what's going on, but it's always card subject to change.
That's the phrase to remember, card subject to change. All right, so we've got one other thing we need to talk about. Before we do, that's everything about this particular PLE. I want to get grades from you guys. How would you grade this Clash at the Castle PLE?
I thought it was a solid A.
Okay. Mike, what do you got?
I would give it an A.
Well, we are all in agreement on this. I too give it an A. I think it was a good PLE. It pushed forward the storylines that needed to be pushed forward. It gave, like I said at the beginning of the show, it gave the hometown crowd their hometown heroes without making the show about their hometown heroes. And as easy as that sounds, it's not always that easy. So I feel like they did a good job with it. I give them an A as well. The other thing to talk about, Uncle Howdy. Everything, if you've been following the QR codes, you've been following everything that's going on, apparently we're going to get the debut of Uncle Howdy and what we're calling right now the Wyatt family or the Wyatt Six Monday night on Raw. So how are we feeling about that?
I'm interested to see what they do. I am slightly trepidatious about the whole thing because I am just waiting for the inevitable backlash of Bray Wyatt fans who find a reason to be upset about what they're doing. The non-Bray Wyatt fans who want to immediately start griping because we're going down the supernatural track again. And the people who just want to gripe, so they're going to find a reason to gripe. And so I feel like this has a big uphill climb. Unless they come out of the gate immediately and do something crazy, then I think that this is a very, very much a uphill battle for them. And I can immediately, if they show up and they do something big, I would put money that you will have people online immediately comparing it to Retribution, especially if they show up and they're all in masks. If they're all in masks, then it's immediately going to get compared to Retribution because they're going to say these were all mid-card characters. They're not main eventers. They're being shoved into a role to pay tribute to a guy who's no longer here, who we were all iffy on anyway. And I just think there's a lot of things that people are going to immediately hate about it. I personally am very much looking forward to it. I love supernatural stuff in wrestling. It is very much in my wheelhouse. As an independent, booker, it's hard for me to kind of tap that vein because I don't have the bells and whistles necessary to pull a lot of that stuff off. But it's very much something that I enjoy. And so if under I tell you this, if they were going to do this with Vince McMahon, I would be much more down on it than I am. The fact that Triple H is there tells me that this probably is going to be decent, if not really good. But I'm very trepidatious about all of it.
Mike, what about you? What do you think about the Uncle Howdy and how we've built up to this coming Monday?
I'm looking forward to it. We do still have some hints of supernatural, but I think it's more along the lines of a psychosomatic thing where it gets involved in your brain. They're playing mind games versus making things move without. For instance, whenever Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss did their thing, where things were falling with no real reason.
No, I get that. I kind of think it's going to. I don't see it going as supernatural as I do cult. It's got a very, very, very cult feel to it to me, and everything about a cult is psychological. So I feel like it's a very psychological thing that's going on, and I'm all about it. I can't wait. I think it's going to be awesome. I don't think the Uncle Howdy character lasts. I think they use the Uncle Howdy character to usher this in, and then it's, if it's a big reveal that, of course none of us know, but the big reveal that it's Bo Dallas and then he's Bo Dallas, or he doesn't even do the Bo Dallas thing,
I mean, at this point, if we're tributing Bray Wyatt, we might as well just call him Taylor Rotundo. I mean,
that's kind of what I think we get. We get the reveal, and he moves forward as Taylor Rotundo. So, either way, I'm excited about it. I'm excited because what they've been talking about is the massacre's coming. We warned you. We gave you an opportunity. The massacre is coming. So, interested to see their definition of massacre.
Yeah, I think there's going to be no middle ground with this. It's either going to be really, really cool, or it's going to be cringy as hell. And I don't want to feel that way. I really don't. I'm really like, I want to see what they do. I guess I just don't trust the fandom anymore. And I don't know how people are going to react to it. I assume they're going to react poorly. because they're the gut reaction nowadays is to immediately rip it to shreds. And so I think the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I'm just, I mean, you could
And
put
hookers
something
and
down
blow.
on
Don't forget the
paper.
hookers and blow.
I think that you can put a lot of cool stuff down on paper. You can really think something through. You can shoot some cool vignettes, and you can put a timer out there and a bunch of QR codes, and you can play some cool music, and then you can put it out there on the stage, and it just dies.
I mean, it will be very sink or swim. Like,
yeah.
I do feel that it will be very sink or swim, but I feel like we're going to get a swim out of this. I feel like it's going to go over.
I want it
that's
to.
my hope.
I want it to. I really want it to. I just
Well,
don't have
Dylan?
any faith in wrestling fans. So.
I can understand that. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming on for the round table for Clash at the Castle. It was an awesome show. It has been a lot of fun talking it with you guys. I look forward to seeing what happens Monday night, what the fallout from this show is going to be. And then we will be right here Thursday night talking about it live on the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Very good.
So I hope to see both of you there Thursday night. Until then, a couple of things to throw out there. Make sure you're heading over to notyouraverage.mark.com. Click all the things, all of them. All of them. Keep in mind that we've got shows coming up here locally. We've got BCW Hot Blooded going down July 13th. We've got the Battle of the Sexes weekend going down July 19th and 20th. There's just great shows all around going on. So we're going to get a little deeper into those two shows coming up soon. I guess I could ask you guys, maybe a couple of matches to announce Thursday?
Maybe.
Most
there you have it.
definitely.
Okay, so we're going to have some matches to announce in these. So be tuned in. I can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome. We will see you Thursday. Until then, I'm Guapo. That's Rick Elsey. That's Mike Caldwell. We're Not Your Average Marks. We'll catch y'all next time. Yeah.